Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Vena Bharat in for Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister honors the nation's Olympians. The Minister of Justice ensures that the Indictable Proceedings Act will be operational soon. And government tackles the issue of safety on the nation's roads. In keeping with the customary tradition of offering incentive and reward to athletes for a job well done, Prime Minister the Honorable Kamal Prasad Bisesa says her government will not renege on its duty to acknowledge the efforts of the 2012 Olympic medalists. The Prime Minister held a reception at the Diplomatic Center to honor the athletes. Trinidad and Tobago Olympic bronze medal relay winning teams each received the sum of $300,000.
The 4x400 relay team members, Alan Gordon, Jaron Solomon, Adaline Fort, and Dion Lendo, will each receive the sum of $300,000. Allow me to note that policy and other considerations necessitate the establishment of a trust fund for elite athletes who are on scholarship.
It was an evening of recognition for the magnificent efforts and sterling achievements of our 2012 National Olympic team and Paralympic team. In a period of just over 2 weeks ago, the young men and women showed the world the potential and talent of a small island nation of just 1.3 million people. Their achievements would not go in vain, and Prime Minister the Honorable Kamal Prasad Bisesa says her government understands that sport is much more than an avenue to elect national pride and invoke patriotism. She stresses that it is an effective means to channel the energies of our youth into positive and productive endeavors. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa also took the opportunity to announce the launch of the National Excellence in Sports for Trinidad and Tobago, NEST.
This will be an all-encompassing program. We will begin in the formative years at early childhood centers, going through the primary schools and into the secondary schools and extending to the tertiary level educational institutions. This NEST program, through it we intend to provide our young or talented citizens with access to expert talent identification scouts, certified coaches, mentors, and of course, yes, doctor, sports psychologists.
The Prime Minister notes that the NEST program will not only build our athletic capacity, but create an all-round healthy and vibrant generation. NEST is an initiative of the Office of the Prime Minister and will be implemented by the Ministry of Sports in collaboration with the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
To support this goal, my government will, over the next 6 years, construct academies, sports academies, in all 41 constituencies of Trinidad and Tobago. These will facilitate the training and educational needs of our country's best young athletes, who will be nurtured by the best coaches.
The Prime Minister says the government therefore has no hesitation in investing heavily in the area of sport, and this will be reflected in the upcoming fiscal period. Also, strong consideration is also being given to the establishment of national academic scholarships in the field of sport.
This program will complement the existing elite athlete program, and under this we offer a maximum of $250,000 to cover medical, nutritional, travel, and training expenses for athletes who are among the top 40 in the world in their sporting discipline.
George Bovell, who won a bronze medal in the 200-meter individual medley in Athens, was also awarded for earning the country's first and only Olympics swim medal.
In this regard, my government is proud to announce today we will not leave you as an unsung hero, but you will receive the sum of $300,000 in recognition of your service during the 2004 Athens Olympic Games. Further, the National Aquatic Center, to be constructed in Couval, adjacent to the Atto Bowden Stadium, shall be named the George Bovell III Aquatic Center.
Trinidad and Tobago was just a dot on the map when we won our first medal, and that was some 60 years ago. Now today, in 2012, the names, the faces have changed to the Olympics, and even the colors of the medal. The Prime Minister says that the 2016 Rio Games is right around the corner, and for those aspiring athletes who wish to qualify for the 2016 Olympics and Paralympics over the next 4 years, there will be several competitive opportunities to prepare you for the Rio Games. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
The Minister of Justice says he will not be deterred in ensuring the Administration of Justice Indictable Proceedings Act 2011 is implemented and operational within the next 4 months. Minister Herbert Volney made the commitment during the debate on the bill in the Parliament at Tower D of the Waterfront Complex in Port of Spain.
The Ministry of Justice is doing all necessary for the Administration of Justice Indictable Proceedings Act 2011 to be implemented by January 2013. Minister Volney says his ministry has partnered with the relevant stakeholders to conduct training and is currently also awaiting reports before implementation is finalized. He adds that police officers who will be involved in the process have already been trained in anticipation of the implementation of the Act.
The Ministry of Justice has partnered with the police service, and in particular those officers who will be involved in preparing cases to be brought to the High Court on indictable matters. There has been a teaching process ongoing. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Forensic Science Center is now working assiduously to be able to deliver the reports in time.
Minister Volney reiterates he will stand by his assurance that the bill, which serves to increase the efficiency of the justice system, will be fully implemented and operational by early next year. He says during the next 4 months, everything necessary will be done to make this happen.
I can assure this House that the assurances that I gave to the House for the effective date of implementation and operationalization of the new scheme of sufficiency hearing will be in place. We are looking at January the 2nd. As I speak, we are in September. We have October, November, and December. And everything is proceeding towards implementation on that day. I gave this House the assurance, and I am keeping the assurance.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
We will be right back with more news after this short break. Welcome back. The government is showing its resolve in battling the problem of increasing road fatalities. Minister of Energy, Senator the Honorable Kevin Ramnarine, has announced plans to construct more gas stations and explains how that assists in road safety.
Minister of Energy Kevin Ramnarine is giving motorists reassurance that road safety is a government priority. At a recent road safety campaign stakeholder meeting held at the Queen's Park Oval, Minister Ramnarine says a road safety council will soon be implemented to oversee a turnaround in the number of road fatalities this country sees every year. He believes that the current figure of around 200 deaths per year is way too high. He adds that this government's commitment to reducing that figure is also part of a United Nations initiative to which this country is a signatory.
We have placed tremendous importance on reducing the carnage on our nation's roads and improving the safety of motorists and pedestrians alike. The government has therefore seen it fit to appoint a National Road Safety Council under the purview of the Ministry of Transport as the lead authority on matters pertaining to road safety. This initiative is a major part of the commitment of the government of Trinidad and Tobago to the United Nations Decade for Action for road safety, which aims to reduce road crashes and their attendant impact on society by at least 50% by the year 2020. And I believe that on average we have around 200 to 230 around their road fatalities per year. Anybody has that number? About 200 per year in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is of course 200 too many. I believe that we should have 0 road fatalities in Trinidad.
The Energy Minister says even his ministry can play a role in reducing road fatalities. He explains that many times accidents are caused by tired drivers and believes his ministry can do its part to eliminate this problem with the construction of more gas stations along the highways.
From the lighthouse in Port of Spain all the way to Golconda in South Trinidad, there's really one gas station on the highway, which is the gas station in Beetham. And there are gas stations along the way, but they are off the highway. And there's really no gas station on that entire, probably the most traversed piece of road in Trinidad and Tobago, the North-South Highway. And one of the things that the NP is doing is that we are looking at placing gas stations similar to what happens in the US with the laybys and so on along that North-South Highway, which will allow for people to stop, have a cup of coffee, and refresh themselves and then drive again. So that too is a role that we could play at the Ministry of Energy.
Minister Ramnarine points out that the government also has more plans to combat the rising number of road deaths. This, he says, will come in the form of several laws and infrastructural plans which, once implemented and enforced, should allow for safer roads in Trinidad and Tobago.
And the government is instituting other infrastructural initiatives aimed at increasing safety on the nation's roads. Some of these include median crossover protection systems, seatbelt and child safety laws, as well as strategies to address the issue of pedestrian safety. Furthermore, the government is currently at an advanced stage in bringing legislation to Parliament for the speed detection, for speed detection utilizing radar and red light camera system.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
And meanwhile, Minister of Transport Chandra Sharma reiterates that the responsibility of road safety and its enforcement lies not only with drivers and the government. He insists that the entire nation should realize how it can affect us all and as such play our part.
Minister Sharma is urging sponsors to come on board and contribute their resources and ideas towards making the roads a safer place. He says while sponsors are welcome, this does not mean that individuals cannot also contribute.
So each one of us can do something, and each one of us knows someone who can do something. And we want to make sure that the sponsors play a very important role. This would require some money. It would require some sponsor of ideas. It would require sponsorship of things that you already have. Your photocopy machine, your ability to print, your ability to allow a sticker to appear in your motor vehicle, something in your lunchroom, in your food box, wherever it is. We need to get the message.
Minister Sharma is reminding parents that they too have a role to play in minimizing the number of collisions which occur on the nation's roads. He says he tries to lead by example, and other parents should also do the same. The minister adds that it is our responsibility to ensure that our loved ones do the right thing when they are driving.
When it comes to life and loss of limbs and accidents, we have to get our emotions. We have to talk to our children and and if you're in a motor car, whether it's driven by your spouse or your son-in-law or your cousin or your driver, and you answer the phone, it is wrong. Pull aside. He's watching, well, I can't remember the word, like a TV on your DVDs. It is wrong. Stop it. And you start it. Now you get involved. You don't text and drive. You're going to lose your life. And don't allow your children, mothers in particular, you're concerned. Your daughter or your son is driving to UE, and every 20 minutes you're calling to find out if they reach. You're not doing them a disservice, please. And young boys and girls, if you're going on a date and you're running late, if your boyfriend or your girlfriend can't wait, drop him. You can't be texting them 10 minutes away. It's not good enough. You'll never reach. You'll have to come in the hospital.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Sport is up after the break. Since the arrival of the foreign-based athletes, it has been a whirlwind 3 days for the London 2012 Olympians. A series of activities designed to honor them for their accomplishments has been unfolding rapidly, and the climax of those events was the reception celebrating our Olympic athletes, hosted by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Prime Minister. Wayne Cunningham has more from Thursday's gala affair.
The heroes of London 2012 were warmly greeted by ministers of government as they arrived at the Prime Minister's residence for the primary event in honor of their achievements at the Olympic Games. And filled with pride was the Honorable Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, who had high praise for the Prime Minister.
I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for putting this forward. It's the first time in about 15 years that this has happened, where the sporting fraternity has been treated at the Prime Minister's residence, the Diplomatic Center, showing the importance of sport as we go forward. And we shall see that in the budget coming up and the plans that we are announcing for sport across Trinidad and Tobago. The power of sport is going to take over, and that's why I'm standing right here between the Minister of Housing and the Minister of National Security, because we are a team going to attack the crime fight. For all of those who are praying on the opposition benches that we feel, they should pray for positivity rather than negativity, because we will succeed in bringing it down in all ways. And sport is one element in the fight against crime to give opportunities. Live sport is going well across the country. You're seeing children, young men changing their lives around immediately. And with more funding and getting better quality life skills teachers, psychologists, and giving them opportunity, you'll see that no one is born bad, and all of our citizens can take their place next to each other as brothers moving forward for the next 50 years.
The Honorable Jack Warner, Minister of National Security, was inclined to agree with his cabinet colleague.
Sport is the most signifying factor in unifying a country. And where others want to divide this country, the Honorable Prime Minister wants to unify it. And for me, this reception today is significant, if only because she has brought all the fraternity together, and to say thanks for a job well done. And I want to join with her in the festivities this afternoon and say thanks to all those who are here.
Celebrating Olympians is a necessary gesture, according to George Bowell III, who has been to 4 Olympiads.
I think what we're doing in feting our Olympians is a really great thing, because as Olympians, what better role models could the young people of the country look for? I mean, I think we pay too much attention to Carnival and Soca Monarch and Chutney Soca and Groovy, and the young people will look and they say they want to wine and jam and party, and nothing's wrong with being a musician, but there's many healthy aspects that sport teaches you about life. And I think it's good what the government is doing, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Cyclist Jacine Phillip was also pleased with the activities.
The day was pretty good. We went out this morning, see some kids, talk to the kids, share our experience, and it was really nice. We're bringing children from different schools. They even brought some kids from Tobago, which was really nice. It's just awesome that they could bring back everybody home to have this nice celebration today, and all different type of people from different associations. It's really good to, just meet and greet everyone.
It was also a special occasion for hurdler J. Hugh Gordon.
I'm just grateful to be here. We're feeling really appreciated right now by the whole country. The boss of all bosses is here, the Prime Minister. So I guess, just to be reunited with the whole team and just enjoying it together as one, I feel really appreciated and welcome back at home. Right now for me, I just concentrating on school right now. I'm at the University of the West Indies, and I'm my 3rd year. Now my final year, still have 1 more year, but I'm just having fun and just glad to be back home and in school.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
We'll be right back after this short break. The Minister of Justice, the Honorable Herbert Volney, was the first guest to be interviewed as the Rise Maximum radio station went on the air. Speaking at the launch, the minister says the program will open the gateway for hope in the facility and will allow inmates an opportunity to rise.
During his address, Minister Volney admits that one of the failures of the local penalty system was the lack of rehabilitation opportunities for inmates. He adds that incarceration without rehabilitation and rehabilitative intervention has proven expensive and, in many cases, tends to breed further criminality and dampen hope. In this context, he says, the Ministry of Justice is very proud to launch this worthwhile project of prison radio.
The advantage of a speedier trial, restitution for victims, and curtailing criminal deviance to reduce the rate of recidivism. In fact, reformation of offenders may prove to be one of our most challenging obligations, because so much of the success to fulfill this objective rests upon offenders and their willingness to change. As we charge ahead into new territory of criminal justice reform, we realize that more modernized approaches are needed to combat this contemporary predicament of perceived and at times real lawlessness.
The minister expressed optimism that such an initiative will not only seek to benefit the inmates, but society.
Statistical evidence from the Crime and Probation Analysis Branch reported that some 15,108 serious crimes were reported last year in 2011. And between January and June of this year, some 8,779 serious crimes were carried out in our relatively small nation state. That is why today, after meticulous planning, some monetary investment, interest and time, we grasp at the potential of this program.
Minister Volney adds that the prison radio will operate with other rehabilitation programs such as academic training for the inmates, anger management training, and a forthcoming program for incarcerated gang members that encourages participants to give up gang membership.
Of course, the task of starting over after a lifetime of poor choices and grave mistakes is often a real personal challenge. For the convicted guilty seeking a fresh start, change is a process that involves, of necessity, an admission first of that guilt, an acceptance of the responsibility for the crime committed, and most important, a want for an education in proper life concepts and skills that are needed to move forward.
Sharing a similar view is British High Commissioner Arthur Snell. He believes the prison radio program has proven to be a success in the United Kingdom and has no doubt it will be helpful here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Prison radio is about reducing reoffending. This is an absolutely key part of a functioning justice system. As Commissioner Martinez will know better than all of us, running prisons is very expensive, demands a lot of resources, and ensuring that prison isn't a revolving door, that people don't reoffend and come back into prison, is one of the most important aspects of a correction system.
The importance of Rise Maximum Radio must be seen in the context of the mission of the prison service, which is to protect society and prevent crime. It also addresses offending behaviors and facilitates the reform and rehabilitation of inmates in a secure, safe, healthy, humane and disciplined environment. The station can be heard internally. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
This has been our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Vinabara, thanking you so much for joining us.